Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. And that's your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back from the Daily Wire. Joe Rogan blasts vaccine passports. People don't understand history. One step closer to dictatorship. I can't say that I can argue with him. Joe's a little liberal for me. I really tip my hat to him, what he's accomplished in his life and how far he's come and how well he's doing and how influential he is. I got to give him all that. He's a little bit too left for me, but I think these leftists are starting to get it. Not that Joe's really a leftist. I would consider Joe more of a left libertarian. Let's read on. Joe Rogan blasted so-called vaccine passports on the Joe Rogan Experience late last week, warning that people do not understand history and that the move would push the U.S. one step closer to being in a dictatorship. Rogan started off by talking about remarks that CNN host Don Lemon, a.k.a. Don Lemon, made that were purposely in favor of vaccine passports, in favor of vaccine passports, noting that the people who support the idea are dumb. They don't understand history. They don't understand human beings, Rogan said. They don't understand human nature. They don't understand the history of every single country that's ever existed other than the United States up until 1776. Every effing country that ever existed was run by dictators, all of them. This is the first one where you had elected officials, he continued. This is the first experiment in self-government that actually worked. And it created the greatest superpower the world has ever known. It created the greatest cultural machine, the greatest machine of art and creativity and innovation right effing here. How did it do that? It did that through freedom. Because when you give people freedom, you let people do whatever the F they want to do, they actually find ways to succeed, grow, and thrive. I can't disagree with any of that. Maybe Joe's starting to come a little bit towards center. Maybe. But as soon as you put the boots to them, as soon as you tell them you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to listen to me, now you have a mini dictator. And you have one step away from a king, and you have one step closer. You're moving one step closer to dictatorship, Rogan added. That's what the effing is happening. That's what's going to happen with a vaccine passport. That's what's going to happen if they close borders. You can't enter New York City unless you have your papers. You know, it's amazing. You can't get papers or an ID to vote, but you have to have them for the vaccine. I thought having ID and paperwork was racist. You can't go here unless you have that. You can't get on a plane unless you do what I say. And people say, well, that's all about protecting people from... No, it's not. And I'm going to play a little bit of it here just to give you an idea of what he said.
I mean, Don Lemon was talking about that openly on CNN.
Yeah.
Don't have a vaccine? Can't go to the supermarket. Don't have a vaccine? Can't go to work. Like...
It's so strange that people want to say things like that. Like, that's the thing that blows me away. Why do people want to...
Because they're dumb.
They're dumb.
They're dumb. They don't understand history. They don't understand
Right.
human beings. They don't understand human nature. They don't understand the history of every single country that's ever existed other than the United States. Up until
Just want to make clear and tell you before we continue, the language is not bleeped out this time, so fair warning to you out there that don't like the F word. So you got a few seconds here to watch something else because he's going to let it rip.
1776, every fucking country that has ever existed was run by dictators.
Right.
All of them. This is the first one where you had elected officials. This is the first experiment in self-government that actually worked, and it created the greatest superpower the world's ever known. It created the greatest cultural machine, the greatest machine of art and creativity and innovation right fucking here. And how did it do that? It did it through freedom. Because when you give people freedom, you let people do whatever the fuck they want to do, they actually find ways to succeed and grow and thrive. But
Well, Joe, I can't say I can argue with any of that. You know, you could read the rest of it here. And basically, it's just the word for word what he said in the video. And you can stop it right here if you want to read the rest of it. It's not, because we've shown this is a fact. Just a couple of months ago, the idea of a breakthrough case was unheard of. Nobody heard of anybody catching COVID. They had a vaccine, right? That was the whole idea. Get a vaccine, you don't have to worry. You have to worry about it. Now we know not only do you get it, but you can spread it, and some people have died. Apparently, it's a small number. I don't know the number. It's just the point of this whole thing. It's you can't enter New York City unless you have your papers. You can't go here unless you have that. Joe, you're right. I can't argue with you. Maybe you shouldn't be so maybe left libertarian, more just left center. I could live with that. You can't do everything you want to whenever you want to. Nobody ever could. But the fact of the matter is, you're afraid they do this, they're going to do something next. They do this, you're going to do something next. And there's going to be a whole swath of people that are second-class citizens. Well, here's the reality. The Democrat, progressive, leftists, and they're all the same now. They used to be different, but they're not anymore. And the Democrats that are keeping quiet, at least elected officials, that don't agree with a lot of this nonsense, you know what? You're just as guilty for not speaking up. I did when I was a Democrat in upstate New York when I was a councilman in the early 2000s, and it got me in a lot of trouble, and I ended up leaving the party. My political career, whatever future I had, was over. But the fact of the matter is, you've got to say something. And by saying nothing, it's the same as agreeing with them. And that's the problem. Joe, you're right. They do this, what's next? They do this, what's next? They do this, what's next? Now we have a sitting president suggesting strongly to the government agency called the CDC to extend the eviction moratorium, even though the Supreme Court just ruled can't do it. Too bad. I didn't give him the order. I just strongly suggested. Any of you got a boss that's fairly, I shouldn't say oppressive, but fairly bossy, and he strongly suggests something, you take that as him telling you to do it. He's the president of the United States, for Pete's sake. Of course they're going to do it at his suggestion. And what's next? They've blown off over 70 million people that voted for Donald Trump. They consider them second-class citizens. They have for almost the last 5 years. What makes you think that their mentality, the people that don't agree with them, are automatically stupid, ignorant, and second-class citizens? That's what they've done. And it's up to the American people, even the ones that voted for Joe Biden, to say enough. You can't treat people like this. You can't do it. We're going to have to see. How does that go when the founders were putting together the Constitution and it was finally ratified? You know, the great Constitution. And Ben Franklin supposedly says, yeah, if you can keep it. Well, here we are, almost 250 years later. Are we at that point now where we're going to lose it? We've been close before and always dodged a bullet. We're going to see. Until the next time, goodbye and good luck.